over 90 years, these have been turning into these. The last public health event the SECC responded to was Ebola a few years back, so this is a structure they are familiar with. Right now they are in the process of an extensive renovation project, as you can see behind me, and the airport director says that this pandemic has not yet impacted that process at all. Well, Matt, what we know right now is that the Montana governor, who has proudly proclaimed that he won in a state that Trump carried, will no longer be vying for a spot to run against him in 2020. For one of the most hands-on majors, this computer screen is allowing them to get their work done and be on their way to help you. And this afternoon, I actually had a chance to ask the governor about the current testing situation here in Montana. Good morning, Ken. It looks like I'm getting a robocall right now as we speak. Whether you have experience or it's your first time, there's something for everyone. Well, Chairson, I'm here on the steps of the Capitol this morning because, like many of us who live here in the capital city, we love the state of Montana, and same goes with the students at Helena High School. Right now, I'm live outside of the doors of the Senate where the bill in my hand died in committee. I'm having too much fun here at this hay maze this morning, and Chairson, all of this is here with the help of Sussex Construction and the Queen City Football Club. And the planning phase, which gives directions to the operations staff, and lastly is the operations, and those are those firefighters, and that goes all the way down to supplies and food. As you can see, this is just some of the equipment that Carroll College nursing students get to use every day. Helena residents will not be inserting coins into parking meters anymore. They will be inserting these. Yes, a debit or credit card. Soon you will be able to pay for your parking with just one swipe. It's in the heart of the city, but it's the pulse of the state. Construction of the Montana State Capitol building began in 1899 and wrapped up 3 years later.
It's a building that brings a sense of pride because it sits right here in the middle of the town, and it's open to everybody.
Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney has been working in this building for over 40 years. He was a part of the Capitol Restoration Commission that took place in 2000, making him something of an expert on the building.
A lot of important things take place in this building, and the people have every right to be a part of it all.
Perhaps the most iconic parts of the Capitol are the rotunda and this massive one-of-a-kind painting from Charlie Russell.
That's the largest Charlie Russell that he ever painted, and there's all sorts of stories about it, that he had to take the roof off his cabin to get it out of there and so forth. But it's a very historical piece, as well as probably the greatest piece of art that the state of Montana owns.
But the Capitol didn't always look like this. Renovations began in the 50s and 60s, which centered on modernizing the building. The barrel vault was renovated to create a fourth floor for hearing rooms, as well as remodeling the west wing.
There is a lot of history, and that makes it special as well. So you see this building, it's beautiful, it's historic, and it really in many ways tells the story of Montana through its art, through its architecture, and through the history.
But it wouldn't last long before an extensive renovation took place in 2000, restoring the Capitol back to its original design, including restoring the original colors in the famous rotunda.
What they did is they literally started removing layer after layer of paint on the walls until they got down to the base wall. And whatever color was the last color was the original color. That's how we determined that the reds and the greens and the golds were all part of that.
The Capitol building is a place where laws are vetoed and passed, but it's more than just a place to make legislation. As Lieutenant Governor Cooney says, it's an experience, which makes the Capitol building this week's Montana treasure. In Helena, I'm Jessica Watts, Montana Right Now. At just 16, Josh Fisk, a sophomore at Helena High School, will be taking his ballet talents from the Queen City Ballet Studio to one in London, as he's been accepted to the English National Ballet School. But Josh's ballet path was a little different than most.
I saw it on TV, and so I asked my mom if I could just try it out. So I started taking some lessons around August of that year.
Josh was one of 30 students chosen out of the 500 who applied, but the moment Josh walked through the doors of the Queen City Ballet Studio just 2.5 years ago, Campbell Midgley, Josh's dance teacher, knew he was made for ballet and had a ton of natural talent.
I was just so amazed at how he had continued to improve every single class and was just a natural at the ballet vocabulary, and so I'm not surprised that within 2.5 years, he's able to go on to a pre-professional program in London.
With goals of becoming a professional dancer, Josh has made a lot of sacrifices, with one of them being withdrawing from high school and moving all the way across the world. But his passion for ballet is what keeps him going.
I think it takes a lot of hard work to get where you're going. You have to be dedicated to it, and to get where you want to go, you have to do it a lot.
Josh will start school in September and graduate in 3 years with a bachelor's degree in dance. Josh Fisk, this month's shining star. In Helena, I'm Jessica Watts, Montana Right Now.